In 1440, the printing press was invented. And during that time, the church in Europe, which was Catholic Church, the Pope and everything, owned a third of the land. Apparently, it still owns about 177 million acres globally. So, still a very powerful organisation. But at that time, it was ruling kings and queens. It was selling passes into heaven for not a great deal of money, half an average labourer's yearly wages. And that guaranteed you heaven. Selling heaven. Martin Luther, 500 years ago this year, 1517, he nailed a list of questions to the Catholic Church, and it started the Reformation. Split nations from the church. 1534, Luther translated the Bible, and because the printing press was around, people started being able to read what the Bible said, because up to that point it had always been in Latin, and they'd have had to listen to what the priest had told them. So now the people are reading their own version of the Bible and making their own interpretations out of it. And this, with the Reformation, made splits. Now, Henry VIII split with Rome in the same year as the Bible were printed, but it wasn't the first monarch to split from Rome. Others had done it as well. Previously in Poland, I think it was. And over time, this had many wars between Protestants and the Catholics. Well, you see, the Protestant kings and the barons, they were stealing the land off the church, building a nation out of it. That's what happened with Henry VIII. That's why the Queen is the biggest landowner in Britain even today. The end of these wars in Europe culminated in the 30-Year War, which was a battle between Catholics and Protestant armies, and it was particularly hideous. A pre-industrial genocides on both sides. By the end of it, Catholic France was fighting on the side with Protestant Sweden and Protestant Poland, because they wanted to keep the Germans under control. Now, basically speaking, the 30-Year War was the end of the Protestant Catholic wars. We learnt just about, fuck it, we'll just have to get on with each other. Like, we can't go around killing each other just because we pray a slightly different way to the same bloody God. 30-Year War was 1618 to 1648. The English Civil War, and not forgetting the printing press was around by now, brand new technology, and we'd started to get leaflets and pamphlets and news coming out of Europe, and the Huguenots were coming over, Protestants were coming over from France and Germany, having brutalised by the other army. It had gone, I think, long past just between Catholics and Protestants, and after 30 years of war, both sides were just brutal. And the English Protestants were worried, scared, because what they were hearing, whether it was fake news or real news, I don't know, but the king was censoring the news. The Archbishop of Canterbury at the time was chief censor, and he was cutting the ears off people who were out leafleting, pamphleting. Now, This then degenerated into the English Civil War in 1642. Now, that also was a bloody war. It cost us more people than the First World War did. Now, that wasn't necessarily Catholic and Protestant. That was the right of the king to rule, but he had a Catholic queen, and the people were worried about what Catholics were doing to Protestants, and the Civil War, Roundheads and the Cavaliers started. Split families straight down the middle, split religions. And at the start of it, there were only 4 people in the country who knew how to lay a cannon. We've been at peace for 100 years. And for 9 years we go around romping around the countryside, killing each other. King James comes to the throne, Catholic king, people are still not happy. William of Orange comes over, glorious revolution, 1688, we end up with the Bill of Rights. 1690 there's the Battle of the Boyne with the Catholic uprising, trying to put King James back on the throne. And Cromwell and whoever goes roaming round Ruddy Island for 30-40 years causing bloody mayhem. And you might think that's ancient history, but it's not. I bumped into it earlier this year in Belfast at the peace line. One side of that line was all pro-Palestinian, Nelson Mandela. The other side was all Second World War, Israel badges. And we were all stood there trying to get pictures taken. And I asked this young lad, I said, will you take a picture of us all? He said, why would I do that? I'm a Catholic. We really need to sort this fault line out. Identity politics is going to destroy our nation. We need to unite behind one banner. Now, this young boy was a Catholic. He was a boy. Was he left or right-handed? Was he good at football? Was he good in bed? Was he gay? Was he good at maths? Was he... I don't know. But the predominant thing is Catholic. Then you've got blacks, black and ethnic minorities. I'm going to pause this now, think things through. We really need to come to some conclusions, people, because the Reformation could still weaken us in our battle against Islam. Unity is key.